Welcome to another deep dive.
Yeah?
This time we're going to be tackling Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this book,
Big one.
it's been a bestseller for over 25 years,
Yeah.
ever since it came out in 2000.
A long time.
It's helped countless people rethink
It really has.
their relationship with money.
Yeah.
Now, we're not just going to be summarizing the book.
No.
We're going to be going a little bit deeper.
We are.
We're going to see how Kiyosaki's ideas hold up in 2025.
Right.
With all of the economic shifts,
Yeah.
all the new financial landscapes that we're all navigating these days.
Right. And that's crucial because a lot has changed since that book first came out.
Exactly.
I mean, it's, for example, Kiyosaki's famous statement that a house is a liability.
Right.
We'll get to that.
We will.
But it definitely sparks some debate.
For sure.
Especially now.
Okay.
Right.
So
okay.
let's start with the foundation of the book.
Sure.
Kiyosaki's two dads.
Yeah.
He grew up with two father figures.
Mm.
His biological father, who he calls Poor Dad,
Yeah.
and his best friend's father, the Rich Dad.
Mm-hmm.
And what's so fascinating is that both men were successful in their careers.
Absolutely. They both earned good incomes.
Yeah.
But their mindsets about money and how to handle it were totally different.
Yes, and Kiyosaki, he paints these really vivid pictures with their contrasting sayings.
Yeah.
Poor Dad would say, I can't afford it.
And Rich Dad would say, how can I afford it? It's a subtle shift, but it pushes you to be proactive.
Yeah.
To look for solutions instead of accepting limitations.
Almost like a mental switch flips when you reframe the question that way.
Exactly. And that leads us to one of Kiyosaki's core arguments, the importance of financial literacy.
Mm-hmm.
He believes traditional education often fails to equip people with the knowledge and skills they need to truly thrive financially.
It's like we're taught to work for money.
Right.
But not how to make money work for us.
That's a key point.
Right.
Many people excel in their professions.
But they struggle with managing money, investing wisely.
Yeah.
Or even just understanding basic financial concepts.
Yeah.
This gap can create a real sense of feeling stuck.
Yeah.
Regardless of income level.
That resonates with a lot of people, I think.
Oh, for sure.
It's like running on a treadmill.
Yeah.
You're working hard, but you're not really getting ahead financially.
Now, one of the most well-known concepts from Rich Dad, Poor Dad is the distinction between assets and liabilities.
Yes. This is where Kiyosaki really breaks it down.
Yeah.
An asset puts money in your pocket, while a liability takes money out.
That's right.
He uses the example of a rental property versus a house you live in.
With a mortgage.
The rental property generates income, making it an asset.
That's right.
But that house, even if it's your dream home, is draining your bank account with mortgage payments, property taxes, upkeep.
Right.
So it's a liability.
Yeah.
It's a pretty radical way of looking at things.
And of course, it's not just about houses.
Yeah.
Stocks that pay dividends are assets. Car loans, credit card debt, those are liabilities. But it gets more interesting when we consider how this framework applies in 2025.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah.
What about things like digital currencies, NFTs, online businesses?
Those are all great examples of how the landscape has shifted.
Yeah.
I mean, these things didn't even exist when Kiyosaki wrote the book.
So does that mean his definition of assets and liabilities is outdated?
Not necessarily. The core principle still holds.
Right.
Does it generate income or cost you money?
Right.
But we have to apply that principle to the new opportunities and risks of today's world.
So it's like the rules of the game haven't changed, but the playing field has expanded.
Precisely.
Okay.
And that's where critical thinking comes in.
Yeah.
Take cryptocurrency, for instance. It can be an asset if you understand how to invest wisely and manage risk.
Right.
But it can also be a very volatile liability if you're not careful. So Kiyosaki's framework gives us a starting point, but we need to adapt it to our current reality.
Absolutely. And that adaptability is a key element of financial literacy.
Okay.
Now, another provocative statement Kiyosaki makes is that the rich don't work for money.
That's always been a thought-provoking concept.
He's challenging the traditional idea of trading time for money. Instead, he believes wealthy individuals build systems where their money works for them.
So it's not about getting a job and earning a salary.
Right.
It's about creating assets that generate income, even while you sleep.
And that's where things get interesting, especially in 2025.
Right.
What are some of those systems in today's world?
Well, building an online business is a prime example.
Yeah.
Think about e-commerce. digital
Okay.
products, online courses.
Yeah.
These are all ways to create income streams that aren't tied to a traditional job.
You're right. And then there's investing in platforms that leverage technology, like AI-driven platforms that automate tasks or generate passive income.
Yeah, these are strategies that weren't even on the radar when Rich Dad Poor Dad was first published.
Right.
But they align perfectly with Kiyosaki's core message about
Yeah.
creating assets that work for you.
Exactly. He also talks about using corporations strategically,
Mm-hmm.
understanding financial leverage, and mastering the art of deal-making.
Yeah.
These are all skills that can help individuals build wealth beyond a traditional job.
And he really dives into the history of taxes and how the wealthy use corporations to legally reduce their tax burden.
It's a complex topic,
Yeah.
and it raises questions about fairness and equality.
Mm-hmm.
But Kiyosaki's point is that understanding these strategies,
Yeah.
whether you agree with them or not, is part of becoming financially literate.
It's about being aware of how the system works, even if you choose to play by a different set of rules.
And it's important to remember that tax laws have evolved since the book was written. There are new regulations and considerations to be aware of.
So it's not about blindly following Kiyosaki's advice,
Right.
but rather using it as a starting point to develop your own informed strategies.
Exactly. And another crucial aspect he emphasizes is overcoming fear and laziness.
Yeah.
He uses a powerful anecdote about a woman who missed a great investment opportunity because she was so afraid of losing money.
I remember that story.
It really highlights how fear can hold us back from taking risks and seizing opportunities.
Has fear ever impacted your own financial decisions?
There have certainly been times when I've hesitated or second-guessed myself. I think it's human nature to be cautious when it comes to money.
Right.
But recognizing that fear and learning to manage it is a big part of developing financial intelligence.
And that leads us to Kiyosaki's 10 steps to develop your financial genius. It's a roadmap for cultivating that financial intelligence, for understanding the game of money.
Right. He provides a practical framework for taking action,
Yeah.
even if you're starting with limited knowledge or resources.
Okay, so let's dive into those steps and see what they can teach us about achieving financial freedom in 2025.
Sounds good. So let's unpack these 10 steps to financial genius.
Okay.
Remember, this isn't a get-rich-quick scheme.
Right.
It's about developing a mindset and a set of skills that will empower you over the long term.
Okay, what are a few of the steps that really jump out at you? The ones that feel particularly relevant in 2025.
One that always resonates with me is find a reason greater than reality.
Okay.
Kiyosaki is all about tapping into that deep-seated motivation, that driving force that pushes you beyond your comfort zone.
It's about having a clear why, right?
Exactly.
A purpose that fuels your actions, even when things get tough.
And in today's world with so many distractions, competing priorities, having a strong why is more crucial than ever.
Because it's easy to get sidetracked or discouraged when you're trying to build a business.
Right.
Invest wisely or simply manage your finances effectively.
Another step that's particularly relevant in our hyper-connected world is choose your friends wisely. Now, this isn't about being exclusive or judgmental. It's about being mindful of the influences you allow into your life.
Because the people we surround ourselves with can have a huge impact on our mindset, our beliefs, and ultimately our actions.
Think about it. If you're constantly surrounded by people who are complaining about money, or who are stuck in a scarcity mindset, it's going to be much harder for you to cultivate a mindset of abundance and possibility.
So it's about actively seeking out relationships with people who inspire you.
Right.
Who challenge you to grow and who share your vision for financial success.
And remember, this can include mentors, coaches, or even online communities of like-minded individuals. It's about creating a supportive network that empowers you to reach your financial goals.
Now, another step that resonates with me, especially as someone who's always learning and exploring new ideas, is master a formula and then learn a new one.
Yeah.
It seems like Kiyosaki is emphasizing the importance of continuous learning, particularly in the realm of finance.
He's a firm believer that financial education is a lifelong pursuit.
Right.
And in a world that's constantly evolving, that's more true than ever.
Because the strategies that worked 10 or even 5 years ago might not be as effective today.
Think about the rise of e-commerce.
Yeah.
The explosion of cryptocurrency, the growing popularity of online business models, the financial landscape is constantly shifting.
Yeah.
And we need to be adaptable.
So it's not just about acquiring knowledge, it's about being able to apply that knowledge in creative and innovative ways.
And that's where the learn a new formula part comes in.
Yeah.
Kiyosaki encourages us to step outside of our comfort zones, to experiment with new approaches, and to always be open to learning from our experiences.
It's about embracing a growth mindset, right?
Absolutely.
Being willing to fail, to iterate, and to constantly refine our strategies as we navigate the ever-changing world of finance.
Now, I know we have a lot of listeners who are feeling inspired by these ideas,
Yeah.
but who might also be feeling a bit overwhelmed. It's easy to get caught up in the big picture and forget about the practical steps we can take right now to move forward.
So let's bring it down to earth.
Yeah.
If someone is listening to this and they're thinking, okay, I want to develop my financial genius, but where do I even start?
Yeah.
What's one tangible action they can take today?
That's a great question. And I think the most important thing is to simply start where you are.
Okay.
Take a clear-eyed look at your current financial situation.
It's like taking inventory, right?
Yeah.
Assessing your assets, your liabilities, your income, your expenses.
Exactly. Get a clear picture of where you stand financially. And don't be afraid to seek guidance from a financial advisor or mentor if you need help with this process.
Once you have that snapshot, you can start setting specific goals. Maybe it's reducing debt,
right,
increasing your income, or building your investment portfolio.
And remember, even small steps can make a big difference over time. The key is to be consistent and to stay focused on your long-term vision.
So it's about taking action, even if it's just one small step at a time. And as you gain knowledge and experience, you can start to implement more sophisticated strategies.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to seek out resources and support along the way.
Yeah.
There are countless books, courses, podcasts, and communities dedicated to helping people achieve financial freedom.
Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about one of Kiyosaki's more controversial ideas.
Okay.
His perspective on taxes.
This is where things get a bit more complex.
Okay.
Kiyosaki argues that the rich don't just work hard. They also work smart using the tax code to their advantage.
He dives into the history of taxes, explaining how they were originally intended to be levied on the rich. But over time, he argues, the system has been manipulated in a way that allows corporations and wealthy individuals to minimize their tax burden.
Right.
And he's not necessarily saying this is right or wrong.
No.
His point is that it's how the game is played. And if you want to win,
right,
you need to understand the rules.
He encourages readers to learn about corporate structures, tax loopholes, and other legal strategies that can help them reduce their tax liability.
Now, I know this can be a sensitive topic,
and
it's important to approach it with a critical eye.
Absolutely. It's essential to understand the ethical implications of these strategies.
Right.
And to make sure you're operating within the bounds of the law.
But Kiyosaki's point is that ignorance is not bliss when it comes to taxes.
Right.
He believes that by understanding the system,
yeah,
even if you don't agree with it, you can make more informed decisions about how to manage your own finances.
And it's important to remember that tax laws are constantly evolving.
Right.
So it's crucial to stay up to date on the latest regulations and to seek professional advice when needed.
Okay.
Now, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to circle back to one of the core themes of the book.
Okay.
The idea that financial education is about more than just making money.
Right. It's about gaining control over your life. Having the freedom to make choices that align with your values and creating a future that you're excited about.
Kiyosaki argues that financial literacy empowers you to break free from the rat race, to pursue your passions, and to create a legacy that extends beyond your own lifetime.
And in a world that can often feel uncertain and unpredictable, that sense of empowerment is more valuable than ever.
So as we move into the final part of our deep dive, I want to encourage you to think about what financial freedom means to you.
Okay.
What are your dreams, your goals, your aspirations, and how can you leverage the principles we've discussed today to create a financial future that supports those dreams?
One thing that really struck me was how Kiyosaki emphasizes understanding the history of money and wealth.
Oh, yeah, he really goes deep.
Like way back. He goes all the way back to ancient civilizations. And how money's evolved.
That's fascinating, right?
Yeah, and he argues that understanding this history can give us insights into how money works today.
Absolutely. Like,
Yeah.
for example,
Mhm.
he talks about how the gold standard was abandoned in the 1970s
Right.
and how that shift led to the rise of fiat currency,
Right.
which is essentially money that's not backed by any physical commodity.
And that's had a huge impact
Oh, yeah.
on the global economy,
Mm-hmm.
leading to things like inflation
Right.
and the increasing importance of debt.
And Kiyosaki believes that understanding those historical shifts is crucial for
Hmm.
making good financial decisions today.
It makes you think differently about money
It does.
when you really understand
Yeah.
where it came from.
We often take it for granted.
Right.
But it's a complex system.
He also challenges the traditional view of corporations.
Oh, yeah.
He argues they can be powerful tools for building wealth
Mm-hmm.
if you use them strategically.
Right. He points out that many of the wealthiest individuals in history have used corporations
Hmm.
to limit their liability, minimize their taxes,
Right.
and create those systems that generate passive income.
He encourages readers to think of corporations not as these faceless entities,
Right.
but as dynamic tools that can be used
Mhm.
to achieve financial freedom.
He even provides specific strategies
Yeah.
for incorporating your business,
Mhm.
structuring your investments,
Oh, yeah.
leveraging the power of legal entities to protect your assets and maximize your returns.
I mean, this sounds a bit intimidating, especially for people new to all this.
It can be a more advanced concept, but
Yeah.
Kiyosaki's point is it's never too early to start learning about these strategies.
So start with the basics. Build a solid foundation and gradually expand your knowledge
That's it.
and skills over time.
And he also stresses the importance of mentors and advisors
Right.
who can guide you along the way.
Finding people who have already achieved that level of success
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah.
you aspire to.
She can be so valuable
Yeah.
because they can provide insights, support, accountability.
Now, one of the most intriguing concepts is this idea
Yeah.
of being an Indian giver.
I love that.
It's a playful term,
It is.
but it really encapsulates
Mm-hmm.
a powerful financial principle.
Essentially, it's about understanding that in the world of investing,
Yeah.
the goal is not just to get your money back.
Right.
It's to get your money back plus something extra.
He calls it getting something for nothing.
Yeah.
And it's a key strategy for sophisticated investors.
He gives the example of buying a property in foreclosure,
Mm-hmm.
fixing it up, finding a tenant,
Right.
and then quickly selling it for a profit. In that scenario, the rent payments you received during the time you owned the property are like the gift you got for free.
It's a brilliant way to illustrate the concept of generating cash flow
Mm-hmm.
while also increasing the value of your asset.
And this principle can be applied to other investments as well,
Okay.
like stocks or businesses.
It's all about looking beyond that initial investment
Mm-hmm.
and considering the long-term potential
Right.
for generating passive income
Yeah.
and accumulating assets.
Now, as we wrap up our deep dive
Yeah.
into Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I want to leave you with one final thought.
What's the most important takeaway you'd like our listeners to remember?
Financial education is not just about numbers and strategies.
Okay.
It's about mindset empowerment
Mm-hmm.
and taking control of your financial future.
Kiyosaki challenges us to question conventional wisdom.
Absolutely.
Think outside the box and be bold in our pursuit of financial freedom.
He reminds us that the rules of the game are not set in stone, and that with the right knowledge and mindset, we can create our own paths to success.
So if you're feeling inspired by Kiyosaki's ideas,
Mm-hmm.
don't let fear or inertia hold you back.
Take action, even if it's just one small step today.
Start learning,
Yeah.
start exploring, and start building the financial future you deserve.
And remember, the journey to financial freedom is not a solo mission.
Surround yourself with supportive people, seek out mentors,
Mm-hmm.
and join communities of like-minded individuals.
Because together, we can create a world where financial literacy is accessible to all,
Yeah,
and where everyone has the opportunity to achieve their financial dreams.
that's a powerful vision to end on.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
We hope you've gained some valuable insights that will help you on your own journey to financial freedom. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep striving for a brighter financial future.